There's a two-word grade printed on almost every bottle in the oil aisle, and according to two separate University of California, Davis studies, it's already false on most of the best-selling imported bottles before you even unscrew the cap, extra virgin. That grade legally requires oil extracted using only mechanical pressing, no heat, no chemical solvents, and no measurable flavor defects whatsoever. It is the strictest, most expensive designation in the entire category. It is also, according to the only independent academic testing of its kind ever conducted in this country, the grade that fails most often. We went through the testing records, the criminal case files, and the ownership trails behind the oil aisle. 9 entries that are not giving you what the label promises, 3 that genuinely are. We start with lower concern and build toward the most serious, then flip it and give you the 3 brands that made a different choice. One caveat before we start, for fairness. A large, more recent 2024 industry-funded testing program overseen by a Yale biostatistician found no confirmed adulteration in today's top-selling and private label brands. Keep that in mind. What follows is what the independent record actually shows, not a claim that every bottle on shelves today is the same as the ones tested over a decade ago. Let's get into it. Number 9. The 5 best-selling imported brands sold in ordinary American supermarkets: Filippo Berio, Bertolli, Pompeian, Colavita, and Star. In a 2010 UC Davis Olive Center study, 69% of imported extra virgin samples failed international sensory standards versus just 10% of California-produced oils. A 2011 follow-up study went further, testing those same 5 brands specifically. 73% of the samples, 66 out of 90, failed 2 separate International Olive Council accredited taste panels, with defects including rancidity and fustiness, a fermentation flaw. Chemical testing backed it up. Roughly 2/3 of samples failed a diacylglycerol freshness test, and close to half failed a pyrophyophytin test, both used to catch old or improperly made oil. This isn't one bad batch. It's the same 5 household names, tested twice by 2 different research teams, with the same result both times. Number 8, the light and pure labels. These sound like a lower calorie choice. They are not. Pure and light olive oil are lower grade oil. Refined, meaning the oil was chemically deodorized and bleached to strip out the defects that would otherwise disqualify it, then cut with a small amount of actual virgin oil purely to add back some flavor and color. The calorie count barely changes. What changes is that you've paid olive oil prices for a product that's mostly refined, flavor-stripped oil with token real olive oil mixed back in for marketing purposes. Number 7, the imported from Italy bottles that were never grown in Italy. This is a well-documented and completely legal practice. Olives grown and pressed into oil in Spain, Greece, Tunisia, or Morocco are shipped in bulk to Italy, bottled there, and labeled to imply Italian origin. Nothing about the oil itself has to be adulterated for this to be deceptive. You're paying a premium for a provenance that exists on the label and nowhere else. Number 6, the coloring scheme. In a 2019 Europol-coordinated operation called Oro Giallo, yellow gold, investigators uncovered a network mixing lower-quality oil with soy oil, then adding chlorophyll and beta-carotene specifically to recreate the color of fresh extra virgin olive oil. The mixing was done in conditions investigators described as unsanitary and unregulated. The product was headed for the German market, sold as extra virgin. A related bust around the same period seized 150,000 liters of oil colored the same way, arrested 20 people, and estimated the ring's profits at up to 8 million euros a year. Number 5, Operation Upson. In late 2023, Spain's Guardia Civil and Italy's Carabinieri, backed by Europol, broke up a network diluting real olive oil with lampante oil, a lower grade that's high in acidity, bad smelling, and not supposed to be sold for direct consumption at all, then selling the blend as virgin or extra virgin. 11 people were arrested, 260,000 liters of the diluted product were seized, along with 91,000 euros in cash, and one company was formally sanctioned for mislabeling. We're about halfway through the list. Number 4, the scale nobody advertises. In 1997 and 1998, olive oil was the single most adulterated agricultural product in the entire European Union. Bad enough that the EU stood up a dedicated anti-fraud task force just for olive oil. Investigators who worked those cases have compared the profit margins in illegal olive oil to cocaine trafficking without anything close to the same legal risk. By 2018, reporting tied to Italy's agromafia, organized crime's footprint across the food supply chain, put the annual criminal profit from food fraud, olive oil prominent among it, at roughly 22 billion euros. Number 3, and this one's aimed directly at North America. A 2017 Italian investigation uncovered more than 220 tons of counterfeit extra virgin olive oil, and reporting on the case says most of it was headed specifically for the US market. This isn't a story you get to file under a European problem. A meaningful share of what gets faked is made to be shipped here. Number 2, the one honest signal in all of this. Across both UC Davis studies, the failure rate wasn't evenly distributed. Imported brands failed at 69% and 73% in the two studies. California-grown, California-milled oil failed at 10%. Same testing panels, same standards, wildly different results depending on where the olives actually came from and how far the oil traveled before it hit a US shelf. Number 1. In the case that did the most damage to the industry's credibility, Italian investigators traced adulterated oil moving through a supplier network back to some of the biggest names in the entire category. Nestlé, Unilever, Bertolli, and Olifici Fasanisi all ended up selling the tainted product to consumers as legitimate olive oil and collectively received roughly $12 million in EU subsidies meant to support the olive oil industry, using oil that had already been compromised before it reached them. The company said they'd been swindled too, and prosecutors were never able to prove otherwise. Maybe they were victims. But it means that even the largest, most trusted names on the shelf were sitting downstream of the exact same supply chain as the smaller operators who got caught, and had no better idea what was actually in the bottle than you did. Now that you know what that grade actually means when it's not backed up, here are 3 that hold up. Best option number 3, Bariani. Family-run, single source, and California Olive Oil Council seal certified, meaning it's passed the COOC's 2-part testing. A chemical analysis plus a blind tasting by a professional sensory panel, and is required to meet California's own acidity standard of 0.5%, well under the 0.8% international ceiling for extra virgin. Best option number 2, McAvoy Ranch. Also COOC certified, also single origin, grown and milled on one ranch rather than blended from oil trucked in from multiple countries. The exact opposite of the imported from Italy laundering described earlier on this list. Best option number 1, California Olive Ranch. The largest domestic grower of olives for extra virgin olive oil, COOC seal certified, and the first Evo O producer to earn a third-party seed oil-free certified seal on top of it. An independent check specifically against the kind of soy and seed oil dilution documented in the Europol cases above. It's also one of the few oils on this list you can actually find at a big box retailer, proof that a verified option doesn't require a specialty store. Before you go back to that aisle, check the label for a harvest date, not just a best by stamp. Real extra virgin oil is at its best within 12 to 18 months of pressing, and a bottle with no harvest date anywhere is telling you something. Look for an actual certification seal. COOC, the NEWA Certified Quality Seal, or a European PDO or PGI origin mark, instead of a country name with nothing to back it up. And if you want a rough gut check at home, real olive oil will go cloudy and start to solidify in the fridge. It's not proof on its own, but a bottle that stays perfectly clear and liquid straight out of the refrigerator is worth a second look.